All right, let's get back to one of our top stories here on RT, that of the ongoing crisis on the Korean peninsula, the ongoing war of words between the North and South. Many South Koreans fearing an all-out conflict as Pyongyang is getting aggressively more postured when it comes to, looking for some sort of international conflict. Let's speak now to Gregory Elich on the board of directors for the Yasenovak Research Institute and on the advisory board of the Korea Truth Commission. Thanks for joining us here on RT. It would appear that neither side seems to benefit economically from Pyongyang's latest decision not to allow South Koreans to work in a joint industrial zone. Why is the North taking such a step here?
Well, basically, there's a whole history of leading up to this current impasse that they've reached. For instance, under a military consultative meeting that South Korea and the United States held back in October, they developed a new military plan for North Korea, so that even in a minor conflict, that both the United States and South Korea would hit North Korea with considerable force. And according to the South Korean Ministry of National Defense, that policy would apply in both peacetime and wartime. Under the missile technology control regime, the United States allows South Korea an exemption on ballistic missile ranges, so they could now build ballistic missiles that would hit the entire territory of North Korea. North Korea is under sanctions. Basically, North Korea has few options to resist.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. You talk about international law here and the issues of sanctions. I mean, there are some already saying that is North Korea playing with fire, for example, by restarting its Yongbyon nuclear facility, or is it a vital move for the country? At this point, you're saying that South Korea has an exemption when it comes to using ballistic missiles. It's not the same for North Korea, though.
No, as far as starting the Yongbyon nuclear facility, it's a symbolic move on North Korea's part. It really makes little difference as far as nuclear weapons program. It'll take many months to restart the facility, and at best it could produce enough plutonium for one bomb per year. I think the rhetoric coming out of North Korea and the restarting of the Yongbyon nuclear facility are symbolic on North Korea's part, and they're basically sending a message to the United States. Look, you're hitting us with sanctions, including sanctions on the North Korea's Foreign Trade Bank, which is a primary institution for international trade, and you're having all these threatening military moves you're making toward us. If you think you're going to crush us, we're going to hit you back harder than you expect. I think this is basically the message that North Korea is sending.
I understand the message you're suggesting from Pyongyang there. I mean, ultimately, it would seem certainly to some that Pyongyang and Washington are just going head-to-head in this crisis. Pyongyang likes to do a ballistic missile test a couple of months ago, saying it's flying a satellite into the atmosphere, up into space. Then we have America that's posturing its military warships near the Korean peninsula. Who's at fault here, do you think? Or perhaps Pyongyang and Washington are both just at fault here?
Well, anyone who knows anything about North Korea knows that if they're approached diplomatically, they'll negotiate. But if they're threatened or bullied, they'll respond with firmness. So we kind of entered a feedback loop where the Obama administration has come in and cut off all negotiations with North Korea. There's been nothing since the last several years. Obama's following a policy of what he calls strategic patience, which is, in effect, a slow strangulation of North Korea through sanctions and economic measures in the hope that it'll collapse at some point in time. So I think
if there's a hope on America's part that Pyongyang will collapse at some point in time, then what is that hope about? Is it about America having an opportunity for another geostrategic positioning? I mean, isn't the U.S. presence in South Korea and other parts of the Far East big enough?
It's never big enough. The United States has over 100 bases throughout the world. If North Korea collapses, the United States can establish military bases right on the border with China, ending the encirclement of that nation. Also, there's considerable mineral deposits in North Korea, which would be useful for exploitation by U.S. corporations. And the United States has never tolerated a country that won't put its economy at the service of foreign corporations. So there's a number of
Well, it's certainly a conversation that requires more time than we have here. I wanted to pick you up a moment ago on the issue of China, but I'm afraid, Gregory, we've just run out of time. We'll have to continue this at a later date here on RT. Gregory Elich on the advisory board of the Korea Policy Institute think tank, joining us live on RT. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank